Avengers Superstars to Superheroes is presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
They've been talking about doing this movie for 5 years.
I think it's time.
Yeah, it's time, all right.
How about that?
We talked to the entire cast of the Avengers over the next half hour.
We were all standing around in our costumes. Everybody was freaking out.
Plus an exclusive clip you'll see only here on Reels.
I'm bringing the party to you.
And we get a serenade from an Avenger or two.
What is everything?
Everything's alright.
Avenger fans, assemble.
I'm just gonna say it straight out. You should see the Avengers.
You heard it here.
Cause this movie is a mother.
That's for reals.
Hello, I'm Clark Gregg here at the famed El Capitan Theater in Hollywood, and what will soon be the home of the most anticipated blockbuster movie of this summer, Marvel's The Avengers. Okay, I admit I might be a little excited about this movie because, well, I star in it too, as S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Phil Coulson. Barton's been compromised.
War has started. And we are hopelessly outgunned.
Some of you out there may not have been following the adventures of the Avengers, so let's get you up to speed.
What have I to fear?
On one side, you have the very bad dude, Loki. On the other, his hammer-wielding brother, Thor. Throw in a mixed bag of crime fighters saving the world, and that's where it all began.
You're here with the mission, sir? Trying to get me back in the world?
What if I say no?
What are you asking me to do?
This is nothing we were ever trained for.
The Avengers. That's what we call ourselves. Sort of like a team. Earth's mightiest heroes type thing. Yes. I've met them. So you've managed to piss off every single one of them. I have an army. We have a Hulk.
Tell me this, why does this work?
First of all, the Hulk got correctly executed from A to Z for the first time. And all of these other franchise players have already demonstrated their ability to launch their own franchise.
You don't have to know much about the characters going in, because you learn everything you need to know within about the first 10 minutes.
With the Avengers, you can't dive too far into any one particular plot line because it is a marriage of all these characters.
You gotta spend time with people to get to know them and understand them and go on their journey with them. And it's a tough thing to do. However, with this one, there's the luxury of having, you know, a lot of the characters be familiar to audiences already.
It's smart. I hate to say it about a genre movie, but it's smart.
It incorporates that kind of human dilemma, I think, that the fans really love. You know, they want to see their heroes' flaws, and, you know, that's what makes them interesting characters.
The other night at the premiere, we were asking everybody, you two guys we did not ask this question to, but if you could be an Avenger, who would you want to be? Everybody's answer was Tony Stark.
My gosh.
I thought I didn't qualify.
Apparently I'm, what is it, volatile, self-obsessed, and don't play well with others.
Hey, come on! You make it so fun. You make them sexy. You make them tragically flawed, and he's got a great car and a beautiful assistant. I mean, what isn't to love about it?
His wife thinks I'm sexy. My wife thinks he's sexy. Okay. But sometimes, if you ask them if we're sexy, they'll say, "I don't know. He wasn't like 2 movies ago. He was sexy."
How about the first time you guys all get in a costume together? Do you have pinch yourself moments whenever you're on set and you realize kind of the scope of everything?
Yeah, I think
that's a surreal moment.
It is pretty weird when we were all standing around in our costumes, just like everybody happened to like bring their kids that day. Everybody's families were there. Everybody was freaking out. I think Kevin Feige, the head of Marvel, had like all of Marvel like a collective conniption that day. They were just like, "Oh my God, we can't even take it!" Like the nerd level was like so high. It was like
a nerd
brain exploded. Yeah, it was out of control. And so we were pretty psyched though. We were pumped about it.
The costumes? Can we talk about your costume in particular? I would imagine, Chris Hemsworth, yours was okay to wear. There weren't too many bad things happening.
Why would you imagine that? Or the metal sleeves. Which part of that did you think was
it pretty uncomfortable?
Yeah. I mean, they both were, but it was big.
Yours looked more uncomfortable. It looked like it was grabbing you everywhere.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Which area are you referring to?
Well, not his shield.
What were you looking at?
Oh, he looks amazing in jean shorts. Unbelievable.
There we go. There's our story.
Jorts. Sorry. Jorts.
Do you wear jorts often?
No, man. That never happened.
Let me ask you this.
Watch the movie. See if you see me in jorts.
right from the get-go. Thor vs. Captain America. The throwdown. They go head-to-head. Flesh this out for me.
We have to be honest.
Let's go.
Captain America is not...
Can't fly.
As able physically as a lot of these. Can't fly, can't call down lightning, he's not from another world.
Right.
You know, Thor, to be completely honest, Thor, I think even within the entire group, I think Thor is... I'd have a better chance against Iron Man. I'd have a better chance against maybe even the Hulk. They set the realms of what that hammer is capable of in the comic books. Now, granted, we have to make it work within the movie, but the fact is, you said it, that hammer can split the earth.
Right.
You know, come on.
Forged from a dying star.
Yeah, come on.
Jeez. You're like surrounded by guys the whole time.
Yeah, but I'm surrounded by a bunch of like theater thesps. I think we forget, but like half of this crew started out doing like musicals.
It's a sequel, actually.
Avengers.
Is that it? It's a musical, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
in the park.
We will break that story.
Shakespeare in the park.
Yes, I like that. So they look big and strong, but ultimately, thespians in the end.
Yeah, they are. They're very thespy.
Yeah.
Which means they're just big old girls.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a big old girl. It's okay.
You're the estrogen on set against all this testosterone. How do you hold your own? Like if somebody came at you on the street today,
Yeah.
could you handle your own?
Go for the eyes.
It's just basic self-defense.
The eyes. Those are the eyes.
Go for the eyes.
That's it?
I don't know if you're wearing heels, you can always step on their toe.
Okay. Jeremy, you have anything to add to that?
Right? Go for the eyes.
I don't do the heel thing, but I don't
That's
know.
the one I heard.
I'm pretty good at running.
So how did the Avengers get from the printed page of the glorious comic books to the silver screen? We go back to the beginning.
If somebody had told me I'd be out here being interviewed by Real Channel and on a red carpet with movie stars, you're crazy.
Rumors, innuendo, speculation. You have questions. We have answers. Sort of.
Can't tell you? I don't know what you're talking about.
I wasn't there.
Everything I've just said is a pack of lies.
Or is it? Some inside scoop from my fellow cast members.
My favourite Avenger is Thor. He's not really an Avenger, can I say Loki? I loved working with Tom. Unquestionably, he's my brother, even though I hate him. Yeah, he's not an Avenger, but he should be.
Welcome back to the historic El Capitan Theater in Hollywood. This is The Avengers, superstars to superheroes, right here on Reels. I'm Clark Gregg. Marvel's The Avengers takes the term brotherly love and throws it right on its butt.
Let's do a head count here.
It's a story as old as the Bible, brother versus brother. But what we wanted to know was just how a good guy goes so very bad. The amazing Tom Hiddleston plays Loki, the bad guy at the center of this superhero story. He is so bad, it takes a team of good guys to try to bring him and his evil alien friends down.
That was the plan. Not a great plan.
You know, it's funny. When it came to playing Loki, it was really you've got to talk about specifics. Because Loki isn't the Joker, and he isn't Dr. Octopus, and he isn't the Riddler, or, you know, he's a very specific entity with very specific motivations. You know, he wants power and status, and the reason he wants those things is because he's basically this damaged child. He's heartbroken because he has nowhere to call home.
Gods! Gods, please help!
The love-hate relationship with Loki. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because it's one of the most entertaining back and forths to watch.
It's great. I mean, Thor's motivation for the film, obviously, is his brother's in there causing chaos, so it's a much more personal, journey for him. But it's good because it's built in something, that your sibling rivalry, which I can relate to in a healthy way.
Look at you. The mighty Thor. With all your strength. And what good's the digger now, huh?
I mean, all my stuff was that I had done with Thor. We built those characters for the first time, together, Tom and I, and so that was some of my favourite stuff was those scenes. It was my meatiest, character stuff as well.
As someone who loves going to the movies and loves these films, I grew up watching Gene Hackman in Superman and Terrence Stamp as General Zod, and then not just in superhero films, but people like Alan Rickman in Die Hard. And there was a sort of style there that maybe came from a vanity and an arrogance, but at least he You know, if you're going to destroy the universe, you might as well look good doing it.
That's right. Be polite along the way.
I mean, in the comic books, Thor keeps forgiving Loki, and like reading, and like for the 7th time, you know, Loki's like, okay, I'll be good. Cut to, I'm taking over the world again. And Thor's like, oh, you let me down. I'm like, you idiot. You know, I mean, I wouldn't give him another chance. He's out. Lock him up.
Loki may have his issues, but could it be that he is not the only one with a one-way pass to the dark side? Director Fury, I think it's time.
Could you ever see Nick Fury sort of flipping the script and going to the other side?
Going to the dark side?
Going to the dark side. Nick Fury. There's a couple points where I just think, because he's such a badass, it's like this cool, calm, collected, but you get this feeling he could just kick anybody's ass if he had to.
Well, I think that he rages against conformity to a point that there's something about him that kind of makes them think that at any point he might, you know, break off.
Is that possible?
That's why he and Black Widow have this relationship, because he brought her in from the dark side, from the black part of the spying game. He's been a spy, she's a spy. They relate to each other in a way that none of the other people do. And there's a level of trust there between him, a level of trust between he and Coulson that he doesn't have with anybody else.
So how did the Avengers get from the printed page of the glorious comic books to the silver screen? We go back to the beginning.
I hope the comic books will sell so that I'll keep my job and I'll be able to pay the rent.
And later, the info on the upcoming Marvel movies. That's right, folks. There are already a couple in the works.
I'm curious if anyone from Marvel has talked to you about your own Hulk movie.